Yo, yo, everybody, what is up? OCD Mikey, hi-fi guy here for another edition of the Mikey live stream on August 13th, 2025. And so welcome everyone. Welcome everybody to the live stream. And everybody can bring your comments or questions on the state of the audio industry or any questions that you've got over audio shit, as it were, audio things, and audio setup. I am an audio setup professional. I set people up with audio systems, high-end audio systems, and I'm straight and honest and to the point, and with no filter. So feel free to ask away. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and pick some topics and start talking away. First of all, we got Fernando. Fernando. Hola, ¿cómo estás, amigo? Hello, Mikey. Hello, tribe. What is your opinion on a dedicated 220-volt electric power line for the amps? Does it improve the sound? Would you recommend it with European version amps? Okay, so here's how I feel about 220. I think 220 on amplifiers is always a good thing, okay? An amplifier is a high current device, so it's going to draw current from the wall. Anytime you have 220 volts, your amplifier, 240 really here, your amplifier draws less current. It draws half the current, right? You get double the voltage and it draws half the current. What do you think makes amplifiers hot? That's when it draws current. So your amp will run cooler, it will run more efficient, and 240 volts by nature is balanced power. So yeah, it will sound better. It won't have a 60 hertz hum. That will be gone. There's no possibility of that with 240. So in all situations, now it's not a do or die thing, right? It's not like, oh, you've got to have 240 on your amps, otherwise it's going to sound like shit. Okay, it's not that kind of a heavy duty thing. But if you are the kind of person that is like, I want zero compromise, then yeah, put 240 on your amps. What I recommend to do is when you make those 240 volt circuits, use something different than a standard plug, okay? Because you can use standard plug. Our plugs are rated to 250 volts or even more sometimes. So you can use a standard, like a normal power cord for 240. You don't need anything bigger like a dryer cord or anything like that. In fact, you can get away with the smaller gauge with 240 because it draws less current for the purpose of audio. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend going to smaller gauge. I'd stay with the heavy gauge power cord. Use 240. I use Neutrik PowerCon. They're a twist lock connector there's no way you're getting that confused. There's no way you're accidentally plugging something into a 240 socket. If you have no choice and you're not going to use something like PowerCon and you're not going to then use one with a 20 amp plug that has a horizontal, instead of two, prongs like this, it's got like prongs like this. Then you can't plug. Now the socket though, a 20 amp socket, you can still plug a regular cable into it. The power cord won't go in unless it's 20. So you still got to be kind of careful in that regard. And if you're going to do it that way, I would, put print out a Dymo label or whatever that's like danger 240 or, warning 240 on the wall plate. So you make sure, because otherwise you'll blow some shit up if you plug in a regular piece of gear, a 120 to a 240 circuit. So yes, I have 4 240 volt circuits because I used to run 4 monoblock amplifiers in my rig. So I had one breaker for each one. 240. I have 4 240s. Now I don't even use them. I use 2 of them. I use 2 of the 240s for my amps. And amps love 240. It's always better to run amps at 240. They absolutely love it. Hey, Tommy, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Yo, pimp, what it is, Dave. Good to see you, man. How's Louisville, man? You digging it? You getting settling in, man? Yeah, so I had a couple topics. Oh, couple topics for today. Well, maybe should I can wait. Well, I don't know. We got 49 people will come back and read this. Couple things. First of all, there is going to be a T+A. I'm going to share my screen. if anybody is looking for, and I'm just helping a brother out, man, somebody in the tribe who bought a T+A brand freaking new, and it was he thought it had a DAC. It didn't have a DAC, and so he wants something with a DAC, and he actually is not even building his second room right now anyways. So he's got a brand new one, open box, that he'll sell. I'm going to share the screen so you can see what this thing is. Here it is. It's a T+A PA3100 HV amplifier. And this is what it is. It's an integrated with 300 watts per channel at 8 ohms. It's a class AB. It's all analog. It'll tell you all about how great it is here. What I liked, the first thing I saw when I looked at the RMS output was this 300 watts, and then it says 500 into 4. So these guys are being honest. So the first thing I can tell you from seeing 300 and then 500 at 4 and instead of 600 is these guys are cooler than the normal hi-fi idiots that tell you that it's 600, that it doubles down. And that's a whole discussion we could have. There is nothing, you can't by physics double down. It's impossible on an amplifier. So anybody that says it doubles down, they're full of shit, okay? It can't do it. And Jeff Rowland explained this to me. He's like, you can come close, but you absolutely can't double it. It's physically impossible. So I like that I see 300, 500. It tells me they're not trying to fluff anything. It's got a pretty wicked bandwidth, 1 hertz to 150K. Frequency response, 180K to half a hertz. So it's pretty wicked bandwidth. And yeah, and it's a $26,000 piece. He bought it for 20. And so he's going to offer it for 20. Exactly what he paid for it. So if anybody wants this, just get in touch with me. I'll put you in touch with Andrew, one of our tribe. And then you can just deal with them. I'm not part of this deal. It just, I'll put you in touch with them. And then you can, and this is, of course, if you don't want anything that I sell, right? I'm not trying to steer you away from my stuff, but I know that not everybody wants the things that I sell. And if you want a T+A, we've got one in the tribe and it's for sale, and it should be up on the at 11 Stereo. There's a forum and then people list stuff. So it'll be there shortly. Okay. Mark and Myrtle. Hi, Mikey and Tribe. Is there a live recording you play to test a system setup specifically to check how real the performance sounds, like you're actually there? Yeah, I do have one or two. Grateful Dead, Friend of the Devil, off Dead Set is a good live piece, and I've seen the Dead 100 or plus times, so I know what they sound like live. So that's a good piece for me. Think Trouble's What You're In is a live recording, and that is pretty killer. Some people like that Sarah, what is it? Sarah, shit. Oh man, Sarah, I want to say Sarah Vaughan, but it's not Sarah Vaughan. It's and it's not Sarah McLachlan, or is it? I can't remember, man. It's in my playlist, and she's live in a little club, and it's it's a good live recording. But those are the three that I can think of. Yep. And then you should feel like you're there. Do I use European plugs on the cables or US standard? Thanks for tips. No, I use US non-standard. I use a Neutrik PowerCon. You can look that up. It's a twist lock. Fifth, Mo Reese says fifth. You're fifth. Well, is that you're telling us you're fifth on the stream? Nice. Mike, if the amplifier tells you how many watts go into 8 ohm and a 4 ohm load, how do you calculate for a 6 ohm load? Great question. I've got no idea. I can speculate and say it's right in the middle. I mean, that would be my best guess. Look at the 4, look at the 8, and then go right in the middle. And then there you've got your 6. That would make sense to me. And I don't know if that works that way, but that would be my guess. My room is 14 by 18. What's up, Percy? My room is 14 by 18 with an open sidewall and open back wall. Okay, will the SN70s be okay? I have 2 SVS subs I can use for the low end. Yeah, let's see, 14 by 18. How close do you sit? So, it's not going to, it'll be okay if you sit relatively close, not like really far away. SN70s aren't going to like fill that. Well, let's see, 14 by 18. Okay. That is about the size, if I'm remembering correctly, of the rooms at Capitol Audio Fest. I think are exactly, they're either 12 by 18 or they're 14 by 18. I can't remember. And they totally filled that room up without subs. So yeah, but they're closed walls. So, do the math. You probably won't fill if they're open walls and they go into a big giant space, then, they're not, you'll hear them fine, but they may not be full tilt boogie in all areas, if in the kitchen and all that kind of stuff. But if you sit, say, like 8 to 10 feet from them, you'll be fine. You'll be in the pocket. What do you use to measure the room other than your ears? I use an SPL meter and I use software and a microphone. I've got some, $1,000 microphones, and I've got a software suite on a laptop, and I pop it open and listen to it if I want to. But really, the bottom line is what matters is my ears, right? So I can hear that something's wrong, and then I'll pull out the laptop to see, okay, what exact frequency? Like, I know where it lies between this frequency and that frequency, like right around, and I can see how good my ears are, like how close I get it to a null or a peak. And that's basically what you're listening for in room acoustics, is where is there too much of a certain frequency or not enough of a certain frequency. That's typically what you're listening for. The microphones, and the laptop isn't going to tell you how good it images. You have to use your ears for that. How realistic is the image? How well is the center focused is the center image? And there may be ways to do that, but I'm a little more rudimentary. The bottom line is my ears are all that matters, and my enjoyment and my engagement. And really, it's more about the thing that trumps everything is engagement in the music. It doesn't really matter any of the other shit. If it doesn't matter if your sound is jacked, if you are engaged in the music and you're under the ether, so to speak, then really, who cares? It's not necessary. Now, for those people that are tweaky, that really want to know exactly what's going on in here, I need the data. They're data heads. Then yeah, get yourself, go to Dayton, get a, what do they call those things? Omni mic. Yeah, from Dayton Audio Parts Express, Omni mic. And I think you get a microphone and some software and everything for like $400. Totally worth it. You can do a little audio tool. I have an app called Audio Tool on my phone that can give you rough estimations of things. It's a good, quick tool that you just do with your phone, that can give you rough ideas of stuff. But I think it's limited to 16,000 hertz. So it doesn't even go up to 20. And I think on the low end, it stops at like 40 or something like that. So it doesn't go real low either. And that's due to the limitations of the microphone on your phone. Yeah, so that's it. And then I also use my girlfriend's ears and my friend's ears. So I'll bring them in. And if I hear something, tell me what it sounds like, or other audio files. Hello, Mikey. Hello, Tribe. Clark checking in from Oahu. What's up, Clark? Welcome, buddy. Mikey, it appears that Jay is shutting down the lab and about to go real big. What's your prediction? I don't... I think he's going to embrace that he sells used audio gear, which it sounds like he already did because I listened to that video, and it sounds like he's finally just saying, I sell used audio gear, which is bravo. Okay, cool. Yeah, he's going to Texas. He's real big is relative. I'm sure he's going to have a couple rooms. It sounded like he said he's going to have a couple rooms. And of course, if you sell your house in South Florida and you take that same amount of money and you go to Texas, you're going to get a place twice the size, at least, and then you can build a freaking pole barn for shit. They're cheap, man. 35 grand, you know, you can construct a pretty wicked pole barn in the backyard on a slab, and then, you know, put up the walls, do what Ron Bernay did, put up the walls, do all that shit, you know, and have yourself an outdoor listening room, you know. So yeah, I mean, I don't have any prediction. I'm guessing it's going to be a bigger setup. He's going to do it, and then he'll show the things he's selling. I guess. Um, so that's cool, man. Good for him, man. I'm happy for him. And yeah. Troubles what you're in is a great audiophile track. It is. So is the worn out Nils Lofgren Keith Dunko. I know. That is worn, isn't it? It's shot out. What are my thoughts on Steely Dan? Steely Dan is fun stuff. I listened to it a lot in high school, so I kind of burnt out on it. It's always good shit because it's like reeling in the years and stuff like that. Like, you know, great stuff. Steely Dan is also very well recorded, so it's a great example of well recorded studio music. So it's always a good example of, you know, well recorded studio music. And also Donald Fagen, the solo stuff is also great. He is a stickler for good sound, so you can count on a good recording, and it's a great. They are great for test tunes. My woman liked to use Down by the Waterline or Six Blade Knife. I can't remember, off that album. Okay, so today, look, if whoever wants to be healthy with me, let's see if I can finish. I will too. A liter of water, and brought to you today by 11 Stereo. But these are not. It's not a sponsor, but I'm going to tell you anyways. What I got is Bukovina. This is spring water brought to you by coming from Bulgaria. And I tried it the other day, and I was like, damn, this stuff tastes good. And it's like $1 a liter. So I was like, shit, I bought several cases of it. And now if I'm on the go, I'm going in the car or whatever, I just grab one of these puppies. Okay, so I'm almost halfway done. Almost halfway done. I chugged, man. But let's see if I try and drink at least 2 liters of water every day. It's tricky, man. If you don't pay attention to it, you simply won't drink enough water. You need to pay attention to it, you know, unless you're just, you know, one of those water people that always has their little metal like tin thing or whatever with the straw in it that you always carry, then maybe you're used to doing it. But I can't watch one of those or keep track of some sort of Yeti bottle thing. I'll leave it somewhere. You know, it's like too much for me to pay attention to. It's easier for me to just grab one of those. Have I ever repaired a pair of Apogees? I've not, but I've repaired Magnapan. Apogee, similar idea. You know, it's not out of the question to do it. I just got a massive quote from Acoustic Sciences. I was wondering if it's worth it. Well, I'll tell you what, it's worth it if you buy it through me. You should quote it through me. In case you guys didn't know, you know, you see it in my room, I pitch and promote it. You're not going to save any money from buying it direct from ASC. So you might as well give the sale to me. And then because I don't ask for your Patreon, I don't pimp for membership fees or anything like that. How I make money and how you guys show me that you like what I do is you buy stuff from me. So if you can give me your quote and you send it to me, I can go through it with you and I can tell you which things I think would be the necessary things and which things might be the fluff. So that's, you know, and then you could give me the sale. I'll help you trim out the fat. I know what things there, because if you leave it up to them, they're going to do a complete job and they're going to give you a freaking recording studio, right? It's going to be like, but we're not trying to create recording studios. So I can save you some money. I'm guessing. Deborah, welcome. Deborah. Oh, is this Deborah from Kenny and Deborah? I hope you have an amazing show. I would guess by that cheer. By that greeting, I'm guessing it's Kenny and Deborah. I agree. Engagement in the music is the main thing. It's all about the music. Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Welcome to our show. Hang out with us. We need some female energy. Jimmy Dean Sausage. You have to use a DAW, a digital audio workstation with a notebook for actual measurements. Correct. And you don't need the DAW. You can get a software. Omni Mic has its own little, software. So you don't need to have Fruity Loops or friggin', Pro Tools or any of that shit. You can have just Omni Mic with its own software, and that's all you need on your laptop. And then you can take the measurements. What's up, Mikey and Hi-Fi Tribe? What is up, Charles? Good to see you, brother. Mike, why is it that some tracks are remastered and still sound poor or well below audiophile quality? Because some people do drugs in the control room. What is it that the engineer is not understanding? When to stop doing drugs? He's doing lines, Who knows, man? Not everybody has good ears. And that's the thing I was talking about the other day. Not all just because somebody's an engineer doesn't mean shit for us, And people will come into the industry and throw this around like it means something. And I'm like, dude, but the bad recordings are from guys like you, and just like you're bringing up, shit recordings come from shit pro audio guys, shit engineers. So telling me you're an engineer doesn't tell me anything. It's like saying I'm a salesman. It's like, well, you could be a shitty used car salesman, pushy asshole, or you could, be some guy that just happens to sell for a living. That's a good guy, So, so just like anybody, there's shitty engineers and there's good engineers. And the other thing that people like to throw around is they like to throw around the word engineer when they've really not done anything that you or I could even find if we were to look. They could be, you got people working in their garage or in their basement doing shit, and then they call themselves an engineer, or they were a helper, they were a gopher at a recording studio or something, and they want to say that they worked at a professional studio, which is true because they went and got the sandwiches for the engineers. They did work at a professional recording studio. So you always got it, man. Just and especially in this day and age when everybody's full of shit. And look, it's even going to get worse. Pretty soon you're going to have AI fake humans that are reviewing hi-fi equipment, and you're going to go on to watch a hi-fi review and it's going to be a fake human, and you're not even going to be able to tell the difference. Right now we can sort of tell, but the best AI shit, you can't tell that it's a human, or it's so close that unless you're really paying attention to little fine details, you might think it's a human. And look, in the next 5 years, it's only going to get worse. They're just, at one point, they will be indistinguishable from normal humans. And then you're going to have robot fake reviews done, just like it's just like a cartoon of a magazine ad. And it's just going to be with a fake AI person, and it's going to be the magazine ad read out loud by a fake human. So it's just going to get worse and worse. All the advertising, you guys know, you've been watching social media. It's just everybody's pushing something, everybody's selling something, everybody's content creator. It's just a bunch of jokers, and it's like, I've got to figure out how to pull away from it. I will. I mean, we've got a plan. Where it's not going to be YouTube centric. It's just not at all. I mean, there's other things to do that are more important than making YouTube content, but this has been great to talk to you guys, and like I'm doing right now, and you guys can talk and everybody gets to see. So it's like I'm having a conversation. Many of the times when people call in and talk to me, I'm having conversations with them. And in the back of my head, I'm like, man, if everybody could be listening to this conversation and I could be having this with everybody, it's why I started doing my live streams, is because we cover a lot of cool shit and a lot of interesting things, a lot of things that I take for granted, that I have, forgotten stuff that people bring up to me every day. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They don't even know this, or, oh yeah, he's not even aware of this. And, things that I just instinctively know. And I think to myself, man, if this thing, if we just we're doing this live, people would be learning a lot of stuff, and it also, when I'm talking with guys from the industry, like Jeff Rowland, I'll get on a call with Jeff Rowland and he'll be talking about stuff. And I'll be like going, oh my God, this is content gold. If people could hear what we're talking about, or Andreas will be coming soon. And, Alberto from AGD. Ultra high quality R vinyl Steely Dan. Oh, amen. Okay, cool. There you go, buddy. Mike, why are you putting microplastics in your testicles? Let's see. So I float when I swim. Is that a good one? So oh man, I could come up with some shit. So I shoot plastic BBs, I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something funny. Now you're going to make me take another drink. I don't even know if this has BPAs in it. It might say BPA free. But whatever. I saw a thing the other day on YouTube, which means it's true, that there's a way to get rid of the microplastics in your body. They found, oh, what was it? It's in my brain right now. Not methylene blue, but it's another name like that. Like it's starts with an S. I can't remember. It's like the name. It's like Saskatchewan or whatever. It's like something, right? That's like a chemical name or I don't think it's some sort of a thing that helps bind to plastics or something like that. Damn it! I wish I could remember. Do I drink tap water at home? No, not at all. I have bottles. I drink this stuff if I'm running around, but then at home I have spring water delivered in glass, 5-gallon glass, and then we drink that. We wash our dishes with tap water, and we don't even boil noodles with tap water. I've got a Berkey filter on the countertop that I use if we're going to cook, because I don't cook with the stuff out of the 5-gallon, because they're like whatever, $20, per 5-gallon jug. But yeah, so no tap water, brother. No way. And I actually structure my water too. And I'm not going to go into that because it's pretty hype. It's weird stuff. Yeah. Water in plastic bottles now, no matter how good plastic. Yep. I'm not worried about it. Mike, will you ever go back to producing edited videos at least twice a month? I don't know, Byron. I don't know. I don't think that I will do it on, I don't know. Look, if I had my way, I wouldn't, I would not, because it's just, I will make videos if I feel compelled that there's a message that I need to get out. If I have something that's just like bugging me, like I got to say something, then I'll make a video, but I won't make videos just because, oh, it's on the schedule. Shit, I got to invent some content for tomorrow. So let me just pull some shit out of my ass, no pun intended, but let me make something up so that I can meet the deadline, which is what a lot of these guys do, especially the ones that make videos every day. They just dig through their ass for content, and it can be just useless, stupid shit. So they get a video up every day. And that's how you please the algorithm, blah, 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 whatever. But I won't do that. I can't do that. I plan to make, I've got a couple products I want to tell you guys about that'll be product vids coming up. If you guys want to, maybe I should do that. Tell me, Byron, if you know the best way for me to take a poll and let you guys choose. How about I let you guys choose? And if there's enough of you that want something, I can talk about it. I'm happy to do that. But not, I'm not gonna edit the edited, like the big edited. I'll never be like a Jay-Z Augie or something. And I'm using him as a example because he makes beautiful videos, right? Like the most pretty backlit, like the lighting, the cinematography, everything is like fucking awesome, right? With that guy, that is not, I won't do that. I don't, I have way too many other things to do, and that is not my job, is making beautiful videos. So I won't put my resources and time into that. So you can't expect that from me. But you can expect me to bring you when I'm excited about something, or if something pisses me off, or if something reminds me, oh man, people need to know about this, like let me talk about it, that kind of thing. Deborah Lee, yes, it's me from Kenny's Hi-Fi Down Under. I love to drop in every now and then. I like your happy vibe today. P.S. I'm also a water freak. It's good for your skin. Yes, that's awesome. It is. It is. And after that scuba diving trip, I got a slight sunburn, so it's needed. Well, did you hear all master recordings were burned in a warehouse, so it's many bad copies running around? As far as I know, it was not the master recordings that burned down. It was the tape production factory, like the factory that made the blank tape burnt down. So all of a sudden there was nobody making blank tapes. So there was a shortage of raw material to make tapes. That's how I understand it. And all master recordings would never be in one place anyways. Warner Electro would have theirs in one place. Sony would have theirs somewhere else. Blah, blah, blah. So it wouldn't make sense that all master recordings were burned. That would just, you gotta pull that apart, pull that apart a little bit and kind of think about it. The AI voice sounds like National Geographic voice. Yeah, and you know what? It doesn't have authenticity to it. Even if it goes up and down, like I have ChatGPT, whatever, 5 Pro, whatever. And she talks to me, and she talks like this, and she uses this thing, and and she'll say, well, and things like that, and trying to make it sound like a human. But at one point I was like, address me by my name and, use humor. And it was totally inauthentic. So I told her to stop it and be straight and to the point. Don't address me by my name, and be straight and to the point. No comments, because she'd be like, oh, and she tried to be funny, which was kind of okay. But after a while, it wore off, and I'm like, this just sounds totally inauthentic. It sounds like a corporate, like a person that works at a corporation. You know how they talk when you go into a corporation, and they talk in a certain way so that they're not, so they don't get fired, so they're not like crossing the line or anything. There's that corporate speak. That's what it sounds like to me. Totally inauthentic bullshit. So, but I'm sure the AI creators, the ones that run the game, will have access to special AI. We already know that. The AI that we get is nothing like the AI Elon Musk gets, or, Zuckerfag gets. It's like those guys get the real shit. And there's no PC, there's no, there's no censorship. Like, and that's another thing you realize when you have ChatGPT or something else, is how bullshit, how much it's just, man, you really got to extract it. Like, I had it tell me it couldn't generate an image. I'm like, yes, you can generate an image. Do it. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, you're right. I can generate an image. And then it did it. It's like, wow, really? So we're going to get the shit ass, stripped down, bare, censored, shit ass corporate version of AI. That's what we're going to get. We're not going to get anything cool. We're going to get the dumbed down bullshit. And then the players are going to get the good shit, and then they're going to have an advantage. It's the whole, it's the whole thing, man. The world, who knows what's going to happen to the world, bro? But it's anybody's guess, man. We might as well just have fun. That's why I'm about, look, have fun. Let's all have fun and make memories while we can. Do it while we can, because who knows what the hell's coming in the future, bro? Who knows what's coming? But it's going to be more surveillance and more control. I'll tell you that's my feeling. Dolly Epicor 9 floor standing loudspeakers sound amazing. Cool. I don't know that model, but I heard them at one point, and they were very clean, and Dolly's a respectful company. Was it Dolly? It was Dolly. And I was listening in Germany. I was listening in Munich, as a matter of fact. You can make an AI song right now easy. And there was a person on LinkedIn that I saw that makes AI music, and I wanted to bring her onto my channel as a guest, and she chickened out. Because I said, this whole idea of making AI music, it kind of saddens me. My fear is that it's going to replace human creativity. And then she was like, well, how am I going to come on as a guest if that's your opinion? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm not here to troll you. It's like, I just want you, I want to see the light. I want to see why you think it's good. Why do you support AI music? Why do you think it's a good thing? Turn me on. I want to see the light. And she gave something, oh, well, I've got a partner and I've got to talk to the CEO and blah, 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 and whatever before, maybe you should talk with them. And it just seemed like they were chickened out. They're not ready to defend it. So I'll look for somebody else that can defend AI music. And what my intuition is that if we boil it and get down to it, it's a way to make money for people that aren't talented enough to make music on their own. Okay. Ooh, I said it. It's for people that can't fucking make music on their own. So they have the computer make it, and then they can sell songs because they can't do the shit on their own. That's how I see it. That's my inkling. That was the feeling I got. Like, if you can't defend it, then what are you hiding? Oh, maybe you're hiding that it's a money-making scheme. Maybe that's why AI music is cool, because computer programmers that aren't musicians can fucking make songs with a girl with big tits or whatever as the artist, AI generated, and then sell the crap out of it, which is what I suspect is why people like it, because anybody can make music, anybody can make money now off music, which would be exactly why I stand against it, is because it kills artists. It doesn't kill them, but it makes them less kind of valuable in some way. It seems like. And again, I'd love to have somebody on for the discussion, to defend that position. Just curious, did you ever sort out Drago's playback design transport issue? Yes. Yeah, it wasn't the transport. It was the cable. And he's got something that is a cable that is, you get people that make these Ethernet filters, right? And they put different connectors on them and all this kind of stuff. A lot of times they use these heavy, big, fat metal connectors that sag. Okay, you put them into a Ethernet slot, and depending on whether it's right side up or upside down, it's going to sag a little bit, and either it's going to press into the connection and make the connection interface better, or it's going to pull away from the connection interface. So and then you've got weird things that they put in the middle of the cable, the filter, that might do weird shit to a streamer's receiver chip or something like that. It turned out it was just a cable. He had to pull the cable out, put it back in, whatever, and it was something that simple. But you kind of have to beware that not that those people in the audio industry will make shit that's not by code. It's like just guy making some shit in his garage. I could make it, like I could do my own Ethernet filter. I don't want to, so I'm not going to, but I know how I could do one, and I would do it in my own way, and it would be different than the next guy, but it would still change your sound. Okay. But some of the ones that have circuits in them or do weird thing they can do weird shit with magnetism. It's just, you don't know what's in there. And sometimes it will make incompatibility issues. So typically when we're troubleshooting stuff like that, we're like, take out the filter, take out all your tweaky shit that's in line in the cable line, and plug shit straight in, and then see if it works. Okay. And then if it works, and then it doesn't work when you plug your weird shit in the cable back in, then we can probably say it's because of your weird shit that you put in there. And then it may work or it may not. So you have to kind of always be aware of that. So whenever you're buying that kind of stuff, make sure there's a return policy to make sure that it's compatible with your device, bad mics, shitty engineers, shit gear, except bad recordings come from lack of knowledge. Yeah, absolutely. That's another thing too, is, the gear that they use to record it. What kind of microphone? It starts with the microphone. Are you using a Shure SM57, like the thing that they use in the school freaking choir in the 8th grade to record, And I'm not saying SM57 is bad. SM57 is probably the most widely used microphone. It's great for drums, blah, 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 whatever. But, for vocal, it's not. And then you have to realize microphones have EQ curves. Each microphone records with a certain EQ on it and polar pattern. It's a bunch of weird shit. And then it's your outboard gear. Then that means you need to take the analog, like that's going into this mic right now, and you need to convert it to digital for the purpose of recording. Because you're not going to be recording the tape unless you're recording the tape. If you're not recording the tape, you're going to record a digital. You need what's called an A to D, not a DAC, but an ADC, an analog to digital converter. So here we are playing back on a fucking, a playback, excuse my line, a $26,000 playback designs, but are they using a high-end playback designs A to D Pinot on the front end? No. What if they're using some bullshit, Samson or what are those DBX? They're using a $300 or $500. Now, chances are, if it's a record label, it's going to be a nice A to D. But still, they could be using a real analytical A to D. They could be using some sort of merging technologies or, one of those other brands that's very pro audio and analytical sounding, and you may get an analytical sounding recording, so there's so much shit. And then if they skimp on it, like he's talking about shitty gear, bad engineers, guys that are drunk, guys that are high, you think about back in the 60s, those guys doing the recording, like live Santana and shit. You think these guys weren't high at a live show at Santana, like at Woodstock or some shit? They're on acid, man. They're just like winging it, man, hoping that it sounds all right. Oh man, what was the recording I was listening to the other day? Where were we? And there was full static on the recording. Man, who was here? I was listening with somebody. I think it was with Bob Dundon. And I could fully hear distortion and crackling in the microphone in the beginning of the song. And I'd never heard it before because I hadn't played that song in my rig, and he wanted to hear it. And when we played it, I was like, oh my God, listen to that. I've never heard that before. It's full tilt, distortion, crackling, like a shitty, and they didn't even fix it. They didn't even get rid of it, So it's weird. You could think that's my system if you didn't know any better. Some of us are just having fun on YouTube. Kenny and I are definitely having fun together doing our show. I know you guys are definitely having a blast. There's no question about that. You can't avoid microplastics. They're in everything. That's kind of how I feel. One of my favorite female vocal audiophile albums is from an independent unsigned artist, Sophia Pfister's Birdcage. Why don't more signed pop, rock, and R&B artists use great audio engineered? Because it's not up to them. I mean, if they're a big act, Elton John or something like that, or Steely Dan, right? They can command that shit. They can bitch around the engineer. But if you're an independent unsigned artist, Sophia Pfister, maybe she's 20 something years old, is she going to get all cocky in the recording studio and start like bossing them around and telling them how to record shit? Probably not. She doesn't know. So she's just going to have to rely on the engineers doing a good job. Now, if the engineer just got divorced, the dog took off, and whatever, and he's having a shitty day, he could just have really short, he could just be really upset. He's distracted, and he's just half-assing the recording just to get it done, just to get this session. I got to be in this damn studio all day with this 20-year-old chick, fucking A, let me record this shit and get this day over with so I can get back and whatever, drink or commiserate or whatever. You know what I mean? So there's so many different variables. But you'd have to be a killer act. Look at Michael Jackson. His stuff was all killer because he's such a high level that, and Madonna, her stuff was great. It's like you just get high level engineers at that point. But if you're unsigned, and especially if you don't have money and you're trying to get somebody to record you, good luck. You're in somebody's basement or you're in a real cheap rented recording studio or whatever, and the engineer could be questionable. Audiophile and bike lover sounds like my, just put guns and women in there and we can get married. Mikey, have you seen the entire disaster with Tyco being called a Ponzi scheme, not delivering orders that were placed over a year ago? Ooh, that sounds like juicy gossip, man. That's crazy, man. I have not heard that. I have not heard anything about that. But that sucks because like aren't they like $70,000 streamers? But you know what? It wouldn't be the first time that companies take deposits or payment up front, which I never do. I used to do it when I didn't have money, right? I would take the money up front or half the money up front, then I would order the gear, pay for it, and then the customer would pay me the second half, and then I'd ship it, you know. It was half up front, you know. I don't do that anymore. So I don't like, I'd rather have the money on the back end, you know, than the money on the front end. And so, but there's many people out there that they spend their dough, they don't have any reserves, and then they use the customer's money that comes in on the deposits to buy the parts and do all the shit. And they're just, man, they're leveraged and they're balancing on a fine line. And all it takes is one or two returns or cancellations, and then they're screwed. Now they owe somebody money because they wanted to return, they took too long or whatever. And the next thing you know, it's a house of cards that has to be very carefully balanced. They're burning the candle at both ends. So that could be the case with them. And that's too bad, man. That's too bad. It's unfortunate. But it would not be the first time that people run audio companies that way. I mean, a lot of guys take money, pull the money out of the companies when they're making it, and they put it into their expensive other hobbies. There was a guy, a speaker company manufacturer, and he had a private plane, and he used to take the money, suck the money out of the company and put it into his airplane. This is a story I heard from somebody, 20 years ago or something like that. This big speaker company, it's pretty well known. You got to be able to trust them. So that's unfortunate, but I don't know if I can verify it. I know exactly who to call if you want me to verify that. I know the U.S. importer, and I can call him and ask him and see what he says. Maybe we can get, I can get a point of view from his side to see if there's any truth in that from the other side of the story. You know what I mean? Because there's always two sides of the story, and then there's the truth, right? Somewhere in between. Mikey, do you regularly clean contacts? I never do. I never do. I don't, Bob. And some people, man, I got people that claim like, oh my God, my system totally changed, But the bottom line is, if all I need to do is connect to the music. If I'm not connecting to the music, then maybe I would go after that. Perhaps if I had a very meager system, maybe I was on a budget and I had a $10,000 whole audio system or something like that. Those little things can really help the inexpensive systems to extract 100% out of the rig. So I guess what I'm saying is, once your system gets so good, you could be operating at 80% of its actual potential, maybe even less, and it doesn't matter because it's still blowing you away. You know what I mean? So as long as you're blown away, connected to the music, I don't obsess with things like cleaning all the contacts. I just don't. It can, and cleaning the contacts is also tricky. It can leave residue. Are you going to clean the pins of your XLR with, and how are you going to go into the sockets of your XLR and clean out the receptacle, end, the female end, there, I mean, then we get into the whole, how do you get in there and how do you not bend anything, and how do you not leave residue? Depending what you're using to clean, you can leave residue, and that residue can collect dust, and all of a sudden you went and cleaned it, and now the next 6 months, because of that little oily residue, it's like twice as dirty as it was before you cleaned it because you left residue. So there's just too many variables. So I don't mess with it. Mark Weston, with the microplastics in your body, you won't have to be embalmed when you die. Exactly, man. Yeah, for sure. I love products, vids, pro or con, all good to me. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to make con videos anymore, just because you're kicking someone in the balls. Like if it's a Chinese corporation, I don't give a shit. I'll kick them in the balls, you know. But if it's somebody, you know, here in America trying to make it, or somebody in Denmark, wherever, you know, somebody just trying, and it's like an owner operator, and they're trying to make it. You know, I don't want to kick them in the balls, man. They're just trying to make it, you know? So making con videos, just I almost made one the other day with a Chinese thing, and I'm like, man, I can't just use this thing as a whipping boy. And that was my whole intent, you know, started out that way. Like, I'm gonna use this thing just to show how much the playback kicks its ass. And I'm like, it's kind of negative. It comes from negative energy, and so my intent can't be to do that any longer. Um, at first it was okay because just to show that I was willing to go there, willing to tell the truth, just to differentiate me from other guys. And I'll certainly tell you the truth if you guys ask me directly. But I just don't want to make whole videos on, you know, burning somebody, you know. It's kind of not cool. And especially after I've been doing this long enough, when I was fresh, it was one thing because I'm just like a new voice burning somebody. But if I burn somebody now, it carries weight, you know, and I had no idea. I go to the shows and like people are livid. Some of these manufacturers, like I had this guy from Great Britain, and he turned out, you know, we're all the fucking same, man. We're all just trying. Everybody's got their own little hustle. We're all just trying to make it, right? So how am I gonna, you know, I meet them and I'm like, I kind of, you know, I kind of like to do. I like everybody off the cuff, right? They have to do something to make me not like them. I generally like people immediately, right? Um, but man, he remembered every fucking thing I said. He's like, you said I had hair like a granny, and I like looked at him. I go, oh shit, I did. I'm like, shit, dude. I've got the same hair, and which was fortunate because I do have the same hair. He had gray curly hair, but from the back, he looked like a granny. And I said, whose grandma is sitting in there? That's the comment that I put. Whose grandma is sitting in there, you know? And he was pissed. And not only that, this fucker was like 8 inches taller than me. He stood close to me and was looking down on me. He's an old dude, so it's not like he's gonna, but it was still sort of, he really came to me with an intimidating posture, you know? And, you know, I disarmed him and I was like, look, dude, I didn't mean it personally. I'm just trying to entertain people. And so I'm saying stupid shit and whatever. Let me come in and listen. Tell me about your product. And, you know, if you want to come, you know, on my show, you can, and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, so we were friends at the end of it. But, you know, I learned pretty quick that my words carry way more weight than I understand, you know? And so when I you know, I can say, I mean, to the point where when I say I don't personally like something, people think I'm bashing a brand. And those are two very different things. Bashing a brand is when you say that stuff sucks. Okay. That is definitely different than saying, I don't like the sound of that. I don't prefer it. It's not my thing. That is opinion. Okay. And then saying, oh, that stuff is shit. That's bashing. Okay. But it's to the point where if I say, I don't like that stuff, I don't think it's really worth it, in my opinion, you know, I didn't like the sound. People think I'm bashing it, and they take that as a bash. And I'm like, dude, I totally didn't bash it, you know. Or my customers, if I don't edit something out. I had a guy say something a while back about Borison. He came and listened to my speakers, and he had just come back from an audio show. The last thing that he heard that was, you know, had a hype around it was Borison. He came into my rig, he listened, he compared it to Borison in his head. And when I did a video to ask him about the brand, he said, oh, this is totally better than Borison. It's got better, you know, because that's what he had in his brain. I get a contact, like an email from one of the dealers that sells Borison, like, hey, dude, I can't believe you're bashing the brand on your channel. I'm like, I'm not bashing shit. Like, my customers said that. And if you can tell me why I should censor my customer's reply, I'm happy to do so. So go ahead, give me a reason. And then, he didn't. And then later on, it turned into this big thing with and it's just weird. People get real weird. So making the con videos are a little touchy. I don't need to do it anymore. At first, I think, and I shouldn't, being as though my word carries enough weight. So Jean Lefranc, that sounds French. Completely agree with you. It gets so boring when they post every day. Well, yeah, because they're making shit up. It's like, I tried doing that, and there was a point where I tried doing 2 videos a day just because I thought if I jammed stuff in the pipeline, it would help my algorithm or whatever. And man, you got to just start coming up with making shit up, just coming up with the stupidest shit just to make content. And you can probably tell it's boring content, Oh, here's another thing I can talk about. Here's another product. And all it is talking about products, this product, that product, this product, that product. It doesn't really tell you what's great. It just tells you everything. Oh, this product is great. Best thing I've heard. They say that about everything, it's just really great. And it's just like, if they just were like, look, I don't even know how they would do it, because I mean, even if they tell you that they're paid for it, like, hey, I got paid for doing this, and so I'm doing a review. For them to be fully honest, they'd have to say, look, I can't really say anything bad about it because these guys paid me. So, so it makes their review useless if they got paid for it, right? And it's not even a review. Then it's just a promotion. So they should just say, I got paid to promote this thing. I want to talk about it. It went into my system. It didn't totally offend me, so I'm going to promote it, Or maybe it did offend them, and they're just going to say, I'm not going to comment on its sound. I'm just going to tell you that you should buy it or whatever. I don't know. It's weird. Where do you get your PowerCon and its wall plate? Do you have them? Now, the PowerCons you can get from Neutrik. The wall plate I had custom made. You can get the receptacle Neutrik thing, but you go to a thing called Front Panel Express and just give them the drawings that Neutrik has of the part of the receptacle, and they will use those measurements, and you tell them, make me a cutout with 2 screw holes, and then you can do all your own graphics. I did all my own graphics on my wall plates that says Virastar, 240 volt. It has all that shit. I did all the graphics on it. So you can just make your own plates. I think I paid maybe like, $150 a plate or something like that. So that's what I did. If you're a little more handy, you could take them to your local guy, just get a blank plate and have them do it with the CNC. Or if you're even more handy, you got a machining, you got a what do they call those things? A milling machine, dude. You can make your own damn plate, dude. Go get some sheet metal, cut out a wall plate. You'll see the measurements, drill a main hole that's like whatever, 3/4 inch, a half inch, and then drill your little screw holes on the side. You'll be able to just make a template and do it yourself, brother. You got that wicked machine in your garage. Yo, what's huge spec amp you have, and do you care about THD and noise? Oh, okay. So you're saying, do I care about amp spec like THD? Not whatsoever. Not at all. I listen to them. I don't give a shit what the THD is. THD is the most misleading specification probably that you could have. Some of the best amplifiers are Past Labs. They have 1% THD, and they're like, they put it like a middle finger. It's like on their thing, 1%. They just put it in bold letters. It's like the first spec you can see immediately. THD 1%, fuckers, and they're flipping you off. They're like, if you're buying because of spec, you're not our customer. Okay. Some people do buy for spec, but what's going to happen, dude, is if you get something with perfect specification, it's going to sound sterile. It's going to sound lifeless and sterile and too clean. It's going to be robotic. It's not going to sound like natural, real music. It's just going to be perfectly clean. And then you can analyze it all you want. You can sit and analyze the sound, but that's not any way to enjoy music, is analyzing the sound. Okay. You should be enjoying the music. Now, if your whole trip is analysis paralysis because you like to pack your beak with meth and fucking listen to how it sounds, then, do it. I'm just teasing, right? Not everybody has to be a drug fiend in order to be into an analytical sound. You could be a mastering engineer, in which case you need it to be that analytical because it's your job to make small adjustments to the EQ and hear every little teeny thing because it's your job, but it's not enjoyable for me nor my customers. My customers typically are music lovers. And so THD does not matter, You just want a company that is reputable, that their you just know their history. Then you don't really care about the specification. It's like, look at Ferrari, okay? Ferrari has shittier spec than, say, a Corvette C8, Z06, right? A Ferrari isn't going to be as fast for the same amount of money. It's not going to be as fast. It's going to have less horsepower. Let's put it that way, for sure. We know it's going to have less. So the specs aren't going to be as good on the Ferrari, but the Ferrari has way more curb appeal. It's way cooler to some people. You know what I mean? It's just got something different. So you got to know the company that you're dealing with. And people can bullshit spec is also another thing. There is nobody looking over the specification. There is no specification cops out there, right? Like there is with investments or different things like that, or with like USDA with meat and stuff like that. There's governing bodies. There is no governing body for hi-fi to make sure that the spec is real, right? And you can do it. You can measure it 18 million different ways because there is no standard for measuring specification. Cheap Audio Man made 2-part series on master audio recording, and they said all. Well, that would be news to me. I can't imagine that's even possible. So, I mean, just think about it. Does it sound likely that it's possible that all master recordings that were ever made, I've got them right here, dude. Mine didn't burn down. These are master recordings. Those are session reels. Okay. So mine are still here. So if I'm just some dude on YouTube that has 300 fucking master recordings here that aren't burnt, and Roger McGuinn, you can see right there, I've got good acts. Clearly there's other professionals that are in the vaults that they're not all in the same fucking place. There's no way, dude. So I don't believe it. But I believe you that they said it. I just don't believe the story. In your stereo amplifier as a monoblocks video, what did you mean by connecting the highs and lows? High frequency, like, and then low frequency, boom, 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 right? Highs and lows. Low frequency, high frequency. Speaker wire and binding posts are black and red and positive and negative. Right. But if you have on a bi-wireable speaker, you have two black and you have two blacks and two reds. Instead of having one black and one red, like a standard full range hookup, you would have a bi-wire hookup, which has two reds, two blacks, or you could have a tri-wire hookup, which is three reds and three blacks. And then you do highs, mids, and lows if you want to. And it's like, and just, it's like it sounds: high frequency, mid-range, and low frequency bass. Will, I love product reviews too, pros and cons, but you need to know the reviewer has integrity to do the review without bias. Yeah, that's true. As long as can't even remember the last time I watched a review, but I'm glad some people enjoy it. Cheers from GVL. Where's that? Was in Chastain Park for the recent Rob Thomas concert. Live music is just so wonderful, and this one did not disappoint. Chastain, dude, that's like right here, bro. You should have gotten in touch and come by and listen to the rig, and then you could have, because I see you on my stream a lot, so you should come by and listen, brother. If you're in the local area, or if you ever come back through, come by. Do you recommend any company technician to revamp reel machines? Yeah, I've got a guy here in Georgia. Just contact me. I can put you in touch. His name's Benny Amina. He's with Modular Electronics. You can just look him up. Tell him Mike Powell sent you, and then he'll know that you came from me. I test many of my own stuff, Debbie Lee Franzman, but still like to see what companies doing. Okay, I don't even understand what that means. Men's It Mark just made a vid on one Revox. Another one I don't understand. Men's It Mark just made a vid on one Revox. Oh, okay. Cool. Grok said Israel is committing a genocide because it is. Yep. And they took it offline for an hour for reprogramming. When it came back online, it said Israel is not committing genocide. Creepy shit. Yeah, of course, dude. We're not getting the real shit. You know, I saw a thing of another guy, a guy that was asking, he did a whole video on YouTube and he was asking Grok about what senators would be the ones most likely to be doing insider trading. And you know, and started going down that route, and all of a sudden it got weird. It like flagged. You start asking it shit like that, and then it reports back to the mothership like this guy's trying to pimp me for some heavy information, right? And then it'll censor itself, you know. So we're getting bullshit, you know. We're not getting the real AI. What'll be cool is to, you know, get something that is, if there is something made that isn't associated with big tech, that where it's like you know, almost like the dark web, where it's like just unedited AI, where you get the real shit, then we could really do some powerful stuff. And it would be very useful to us at that point. But what we have now is a pansy ass bullshit. I mean, trust me, I ask ChatGPT shit all day, but all it is a media, or I mean, a trivia thing for me. It's like I ask it trivial shit, you know, and it tells me trivial shit. I'm not going to trust it for anything serious because I think it's just going to tell me what I want to hear. I think if I used it for business or whatever, it would take if I have any brilliant ideas, it'll steal them, you know. I don't trust it for as far as I could, you know. Can't really throw it, but you know what I mean. I don't trust it at all. I think it's bullshit. Mend it, Mark. Oh, I don't know who Mend it, Mark is. You're right. We will get AI live performance soon from old rock bands. That would be killer. You know, that part would be pretty wild. Like I would go see Jimi Hendrix, you know, like if I could get like if they sold a like a 3D hologram Hendrix concert, you know, I'd go check it out, you know. But it would be weird, like especially if it made new music. If it said like look over Hendrix's catalog and create new stuff, that would be badass if it could do that. Then I would see AI music that I could see. But this person that I talked to, I went to her website or saw some of her things, and they have like, oh, we made this country star, and it's like some guy that's a country star, you know, fucking Bo, whatever they named him, you know, and it's like, and he's doing total stereotypical country song, like you hear, total hit, like shit, like just, you know, the same stuff. Like we add in the data, everything that makes a country hit, let's punch it in and have, you know, AI grab everything that made anybody that was successful, take something from every one of them and compile it, you know, and then you have something. And it sounds like a textbook thing, like it would sell like a pop music, but it doesn't sound unique or different to me, you know. Challenge: get an entry record player, intro, VPI, or Riga player. Listen to Ultra High for a month. Take the Pepsi challenge. You sell a phono stage and review it. Totally not interested. Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, so these are the kind of things like that would make good content, right? Like if I did that, I could get everybody to talk. Oh my God, did you see Mikey got a vinyl thing? But my motivation for doing it wouldn't be pure. And so let me ask you all right now, there's 108 of you watching. Would you value it if I did it just for the sake of making content? And if it didn't come from the heart, and I just, you know, I'm just doing it because I think it's a good clickbait or click worthy thing. And this is what many, you know, I know because I talk to the other YouTubers and they're like, and you know, one of them sends me stuff. Oh, dude, you got to do one on this, or you get tons of clicks. That's all they give a shit about. Is how do I make a title and a thing that gets a ton of clicks? Some of them are very good at it. They do very dramatic titles, and it's manipulating the masses. I can't do that to you guys. I don't have it in me because then I'm just manipulating you guys, I'm just like, oh, what I'd rather do is blow up a turntable with explosives, or take a 50 caliber to a turntable and shoot it and watch it explode. That would be funny to me because it would drive so many people. People would freak out that Mikey did that, but it would be great, play 5,000 watts through a speaker and make it explode, make the thing burn out, make it pop the driver into the yard, do it outside and put 10,000 watts. Let's see what 10,000 watts through a Wilson does. I'm teasing. Through some, shit ass, whatever, Serwin Vega or something like that, something those, and those that doesn't even motivate me anymore. Because again, it's something that I would do for clicks, because people would freak out, so if I get an entry level record player, it's a ploy. If I get a headphone amp, if I get headphones and I start reviewing headphones, talking about headphone amp, yeah, it would increase. You're right. I would sell more. I'd sell headphones. But then I'm in a position of selling shit that I'm not even into. How am I going to sell you something that I don't even care about? Then I'm just selling you a widget. There's no feeling in it. There's no passion in it. I don't care about it, but I'm still going to sell it to you for the money. It's like pimping something. It's like there's no emotion in it, but because of the money, and I'm just doing it. It's whoring something out, I can't, that's selling my soul out for the sake of getting clicks and making money. And I'd rather have a complete soul, where I'm only doing shit that I'm passionate about, and I'm only doing things that I like, and I'm only talking about things that I like. That's I got to stick with it, man. But I mean, you can answer if you guys think that it would have some value for me to talk about shit that I don't care about, What's the best all-time system you ever heard? Digital or reel-to-reel or vinyl? Okay, so is this two questions or is this one question? What's the best all-time system I've heard is the one I have right now. Okay, and then out of those three things, reel-to-reel or digital, they're pretty much tied. I have not heard a vinyl rig at this point that has been on the level of digital or reel-to-reel. And reel-to-reel is kind of its own thing. It has tape hiss. It's the thing that's cool about reel-to-reel is it has a feeling. It's got a texture. It's got that tape hiss, which is very tangible texture feeling. It's kind of cool, but man, no, I mean the best digital's the best rig I've ever heard is my system that I have in my room. I've not heard anything better. And I invite people to come by and comment and tell people, and talk about it. So yeah, but again, I don't have vinyl in my room. I have reel-to-reel, 2 players, and I've got all these actual master tapes. And then over here, I've got all the 2. You can see all those. It's hard because of that light, but you can see all those. Those are the 1/4-inch 2-track half tracks. So, anyways, digital. I don't listen to vinyl. Yeah, I don't listen to vinyl. I think vinyl is cool, the concept, and cool, unique records. And like on Instagram, I got a couple guys that I subscribe to that are wicked record collectors, and then they play these really cool 60s psychedelic, like psych rock, stuff that I like to listen to, and I let them do it for me, man. They can go dumpster crate digging and and do all that stuff and then play these things. But I'm talking to one guy. I'm like, look, dude, why don't we do some DSD rips of these things and make some shit that we can, so that guys with digital rigs can enjoy it too, if they want to, snack crackles and pops and all included, but I think vinyl's like a cooler in theory than it is in actual practice for me. but there are some people that really like the ritual. I get the ritual, and I like that it slows you down, you know, but on the same note, I don't like that it slows you down. So it's two different like listening modes. It's like I have a sport bike, a sport touring, and I have a Harley, and they're two totally different moods. So that would be like digital and frickin' vinyl, right? The Harley is a scooter. It's fast, but you don't even use it for that, It's like you just you putt on it like you're a fucking Shriner at the circus, I mean, it's just a fat ass, American couch on wheels, and it's great and I love it, and it's for when I just want to daydream and just look at the sights and like just putt around. And then I've got the Ducati for when I want precision riding done, right? So that's probably how it would I compare vinyl would be like a Harley, It's just, you slow down and it's about the journey, and it's not that much about I don't know. It's just there is something neat. And I went and I had the experience one time at Isaac's place where his rig was totally dialed. It had Magnapans. He had some Nat audio monoblocks that I sold to him. He had his phono was a Alnick, and I can't remember what his turntable is, but whatever it was, it sounded fucking great. And I was like, okay, now I'm getting vinyl. Like this is the first time I'm totally getting vinyl. It doesn't sound lean. It doesn't sound crackling pop, like weak. It's full tilt sonic. And we were enjoying it. And I was looking at the liner notes and we were enjoying the thing. And I was like, okay, I get it. It would be even better if we had a cigar and some whiskey. If I drank whiskey, sip a little whiskey or wine and have a cigar and go all slow and just dedicate the whole listening session to one album, or maybe two albums. But that's just like a lot, man. There's other times when I want to be able to explore new music. And when I'm exploring new music, I skip around, man, because it's like I get all the new releases and I click on it. And if it sucks, I'm out of there. I'm like right to the next one. And then I listen to it. And if it's good, I hang out. If it's shitty, I skip right to the next one. You can't do that with vinyl. So you can't really music explore in any sort of an efficient manner, which I can totally do that with digital and with streaming, really in particular. So, it's like there's different purposes for each, different vibe, different whole thing. SM57 Roadie Hammer. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Hammer in the nails. What is the function of the clock in a DAC? It times the ones and zeros. I'm going to say it's simple. Okay. I'm not going to go into the whole technical thing. It times the ones and zeros. Okay. And ones and zeros have an accuracy specification. They can either be inaccurate ones and zeros with all sorts of errors, or they can be fucking perfectly dialed in, clocked, timed perfectly ones and zeros. And so the better DACs, how do you know if it is any good? Because the DAC sounds better. Is the audio analog one good? Yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, look, there's very few products that make it under my wing. If they make it under my wing, they have to meet a certain threshold. And otherwise I won't carry them. I won't put my name on them. They have to sound, and everything typically sounds similar. It's all musical. It will all, and not musical in a bad way, musical in an emotional connection to the music way. Everything I sell, every DAC will connect you to the music, and it will all sound natural. I'm after natural sound. So I would not, if there was a shitty clock, if you will, in a DAC, I wouldn't have it. I wouldn't have it in my stable. So the function is to make the digital data stream accurate. It's an accuracy thing. Roscoe, where do you find those albums? They hard to get by me. Prince hired Maceo Parker and John Blackwell to join his band, the New Power Generation. He then promoted the 2004 musicology tour as real music by real musicians, not computer programmers. Now I see why. There you go. Yeah, Prince was he was an enigma, man. That dude was like, I still don't understand him. Like that guy was an enigma. He was like something else. Hey, Mike, do you ever kick back and listen to your system on 200 milligrams of harmine and 100 milligrams of DNT taken over? Sounds so real with very little body load. That's funny. Yeah, man, you could listen to your fucking phone and you would be real. What the hell's harmine anyways? Is that something else? 100 milligrams of DMT sounds scary to me, but I don't even know what harmine is. Is there any chance you have tried listening to 2 stereo audio analogs, AA100s, as monos? No, I have not. Nope, I haven't. Yeah. Nope. And I'm trying to remember if they're bridgeable. Maybe you can tell me if you've looked at it, if they're bridgeable by the end user or if they have to come from the factory. I know the big ones have to come from the factory, as come from the factory set as a monoblock. Glock, no, I'm definitely not a Glock guy. Sig, yes, or H&K is more apropos. H&K would probably be the first choice. Yeah, dude, you got to understand. I'm OCD hi-fi guy. I'm a connoisseur of just about everything I do. I want to buy it once, and I'm a luxury buyer. I buy the high-end shit. So yeah, and what was the last thing I bought? A B&T from Switzerland. Did I show? I showed you guys that, man. It's a submachine gun made for underneath the pilot's seat. And it folds up, and all you do is you take the thing out and you fold it up and click. All of a sudden, you got this submachine gun, 9mm. So yeah, I like the good shit. I like if I had my druthers, and we're talking handguns. Nighthawk is pretty sick. And there was this other one that I learned about. And I can't even remember the name of it because it was brand new. I talked about it when I went to the gun show last. $3,500 for a 2011. For competition. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend $3,500 on a fucking handgun at this point. Or no. I'm sorry. It wasn't 3,500. It was like 8,000. That's right. That's why I was tripping out on it. 3,500 I would spend. If it was some competition level thing. I think Nighthawk's around 5K, maybe 35 to 5K. And then this thing was, someone's told me John Wick, I think John Wick uses it in the movie, that exact model. Anyways, I like rifles. I'm more of a rifle than a handgun guy. I like long range accuracy shooting. So, 308, 300. I'm not really a 300 Win Mag or the 300 Lapua. What a 338 Lapua. More of like a 308 is probably the biggest, and then I've got some 6.5 Creeds and one of those little fuckers. The other one, Blackout 300 Blackout. Custom stuff. Yeah, carbon fiber barrels, shit like that. Hey, Mikey, many greetings from Switzerland. What's up, man? We need more real hi-fi music aficionados like you here. Dude, just invite me and I'll come, man. I came and I was in tune. Actually, the B&T that I was just telling you about, I've got a Swiss submachine gun made in tune, and it is a B&T. Dude, I'd love to. I will come back. Andreas Koch of Playback Designs lives in Tune, just above Tune, or he's back and forth between America and Tune. And I love your country, man. Your country is very beautiful, and I will absolutely. We will go back. I'll bring my woman, and we will go back to Switzerland. So stay in touch with me if you want. Email me or text me, and then when I go back, I'll come and visit, man. We can listen to your rig and smoke cigars. We can buy Cuban cigars there too. So smoke some Cuban cigars, have a little toy shirt, a little coffee, little of the cheese. Man, you got a kind country. It's really high end. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And you're welcome to come visit anytime you want to come here, man. Planning on adding additional custom tweeters to my Maggie LRS setup. Why? With the Sublime active crossover, making it a 3-way. I want to cross over at 10K. Is that a good crossover point? Oh, no, not really, man. Why? Oh, because it doesn't have a ribbon tweeter. So you think, I mean, when does it roll off? Have you measured it in your room to see where it rolls off? You know, if you're crossing over at 10K, that's a super tweeter, brother. That's very high. Typically tweeters cross over at 2K. So 10K would be like a super tweeter. What up, tribe? What up, Tom? Welcome. Eric, the most boring content is the unboxing videos. What a waste of time. I know, so stupid. Did you see the one where I made fun of it? I played this old 50s like department store music. And I put on like gloves and I did the whole stroke job. I like licked it and everything. I was just making fun of the unboxing idiot videos. Just so stupid, man. I mean, how can you as an adult dude like do unboxing videos? Gosh, come on, man. That's for kids and toys. It's not for adults and stereo equipment, geek. I think reviewers should be paid by companies to review with the stipulation that the review will not be biased for being paid for the... Oh, God. That's impossible, brother. That's impossible. That's impossible. That's impossible. You know, because, you know, with the stipulation that the review not be biased, how is it possible? They're being paid. That means if you give an unbiased review, you risk never getting paid again. It would not be, you'd be a stupid reviewer if you gave an unbiased review that you got paid for. You owe them something when they pay you, you know? Or if you have it in your little head that you don't owe them shit, see if they ever hire you again. So it's impossible. What the reviewers should not be paid. That's the only way it works. The reviewers should be not paid. And then they can give a unbiased review. It's the only way is to be unpaid. And then a reviewer's got to be independent, because if he works for a magazine, that magazine has friendships with those manufacturers and they advertise. And so they may not pay the reviewer directly, but the reviewer gets a paycheck from a company that it's impossible. There's no way. There's no way you can do that. It sounds like that what you're suggesting sounds like something that like a politician would do. Oh no, I'm unbiased. Yeah, well, but you get like your campaign paid for, right? You know, Trump certainly didn't play that shit with Elon Musk, did he? That was pretty funny, you know. But yeah, you know, so it's just meh, doesn't work. I'm gonna try and fix those apogees next week. There's a tear in the ribbon. I might be able to tape it. Yeah, more likely, depending on how thin that foil is, you'll have to put a foil on it. If there's a tear in it and there's no continuity, you got to think of that foil as like a wire, right? You've got the black end of your speaker cable and the right and the red, and you've got a wire going in between. In the case of your apogees, it's a foil going in between, and then the thing moves. So if there's a clean tear all the way across, it's not going to make continuity. So the speaker's not going to work. And just taping it, unless you overlap it and you tape it, then it would work. But you need to have, if your ribbon's tore like this and it's apart, that needs to not only touch like that, but it needs to be overlapped. Otherwise, you're not going to get good. It's going to flex and it'll pull it apart. So if you can stretch it and solder it would be the best. And I don't know how thin that stuff is and what kind of heat it could take. But if you put too hot solder on it, you could just burn through the foil. I don't know how delicate it is, so I don't even know if it can be soldered. But you could use silver epoxy. There's epoxy that has silver in it. That's conductive epoxy. So you would want conductive epoxy. If you can't solder, use conductive epoxy and put a patch on it, potentially, unless you can stretch it and overlap it. Do you know why the designer of the AA DAC made the device so long and narrow as opposed to traditional width shallow like the JR125? Nope, I don't. I'm guessing to fit in a smaller, the transport fits underneath it and they're identical size. So you stack them, or you can put the transport and the DAC right next to each other, and then you have a full size. It's the same width. Typically in those European, when they make them smaller like that, it's to fit in more places, to fit in smaller locations, just take up less space. Have I ever heard of Grant tube amplifiers? No. GVL Greenville. Okay, there we go. Greenville, South Carolina. Well, shit, dude, you're close enough. Come by, man. Come listen. Rashawn, a beginner's question. Porsche versus Ferrari versus Corvette from a driving experience perspective. Well, I haven't driven a Ferrari, and I haven't driven the new C8. And I have driven the Porsche, which the Porsche felt like a race car. It felt really awesome. The thing that was the drawback, is like, well, if you want to have this car, it's 220 grand, So I was like, well, I can't, when you hear a price like that, you can't even consider it. Like for me at this point in my life, I couldn't even consider it. So there's like a block in my brain that's like, okay, this is unviable. It's like when you go into those $1 million audio rooms, you know how you're supposed to wrap your head around $1-2 million, for an audio system. You can't. It's unviable. It's not viable. So what you're listening to, there's no way you're having it, right? So my brain just blocks it. It's just like my brain doesn't even go there. It's not viable. But the Porsche drove awesome. What I would like is just like a car that drives nice and tight, that is super comfortable. What I've heard from people is they can't take their 911s on any sort of long trips. I would like to be able to have a sports car that I can jump in and do a road trip in. So I don't know that any of those are possible unless you start to go into the Porsche, Taycan or the Panamera, or the Macan, or, what's the other one? Cayenne. You can probably do road trips in those. But I don't know. I think it's probably more, and then it has to do with what is it like? One's a Corvette, so you're the Corvette guy, right? One is a Ferrari, you're the Italian stallion, and one's the Porsche, you're the German hammer, so it all depends on what role you want to play. What character do you want to be today? It can turn into that. When local or traveling potential customers come by the house, how long do you allow them to listen? Some people stay all day. Typically people have a general sense of what is fair. Okay. So in other words, I will let people come that aren't going to buy anything. Okay. Because I'm just that guy right now. If you're not going to buy anything, I don't care. You can come and listen, but get out of here in an hour and a half, unless we're like hitting it off and we're talking about other shit. And we're like, we're going to go ride bikes or whatever, then it could be anything. But typically if someone's not going to buy something, they usually get out of here in an hour and a half. The guys that know that they're coming to listen for the purpose of buying something, I've spent all day with them, and then I buy them dinner, and and we hang out, we smoke cigars after dinner, whatever. It can be an all day affair. I've had it where people come back, the next day. Typically those are guys that, are buying rigs. They're spending six figures with me. But it doesn't matter. I don't hold anybody to it. I'd spend all day. If you are buying a DAC, I don't really care. But if you have no intention of buying something, I typically don't have to kick anybody out. I've never had it where I've had to been like, okay, time to go. I've never had to do that. Thank God. So that would rock. I can't remember what would rock. No, just do a vinyl review. Honestly, not for views, but for the tribe. a vinyl review, but it wouldn't, you understand, it wouldn't be a vinyl review. It would be a turntable, cartridge, phono pre, and then vinyl, right? It would be all those things. It wouldn't, I wouldn't be able to comment on the vinyl properly because I've got no reference, right? So I wouldn't be able to say anything. I'd be like, maybe it sounds weird, and then people would be like, well, because it's a cheap shit thing you're using, or what kind of cartridge you're using. It's the whole fucking rabbit hole, you know. Big John brought his turntable over, his Bang & Olufsen or whatever the hell, and we put it in and we listened to a record, and my digital absolutely kicked its ass. And then people were upset. Well, Jesus, you got to have a fucking better turntable than that, and blah 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 blah, and whatever. And then I go down the rabbit hole, and again, and it's a rabbit hole that I'm not interested in exploring. For me to get a vinyl rig, look, I went to a guy's house he had a Kronos rig. He had basically, and he had a $60,000 DS Audio phono pre. No, he didn't. He had the not Constellation, not T+A, that other Swiss brand, starts with the C, doesn't it? Oh man, what's that other thing? I can't remember it right now. It's a Swiss brand. It's a $60,000 preamp, phono pre. He's got a $15,000 DS Audio cartridge, a $70,000 Kronos turntable, Alcivox, $150,000 speakers. Can't remember his amps. And we put in my MPD-8, my Playback Designs and Streamer, and we beat that vinyl turntable. And he bought my shit on the spot. He said, I'll take both of those things. It also beat his Vivaldi stack that he had there. So in order to get a vinyl rig in my system that would do any sort of justice, it would have to be very expensive, Hi. Headphones popularity and quality appears to be growing rapidly among millennials and Gen Z. How do you think that may or not apply to future hi-fi as those gens grow old? Well, I mean, I think it's a great way for people to be exposed to high quality audio. So they might listen to that and go, oh yeah. And then once they realize there's a difference in headphones, and there's a difference in, headphone amps, then man, as soon as they buy their first house, and as soon as they, make their first, whatever, they've got 500,000 in the bank or whatever, they're going to have run out of responsible shit to pay for. And they're going to start being at that point, which hopefully everybody reaches, where you get to start shopping for shit that totally doesn't even have any ROI, but it doesn't matter because you've got enough money, and an audio system is just another freaking thing you're going to buy this week. Next week you're going to buy a jet ski. The week after you're going to buy a photo camera setup. The week after that you're going to buy a golf club set and all this shit. Next you're going to buy scuba diving gear and all that shit. And then, whatever. It's just like buying another thing that so when they get to that point, they're going to know I probably want some shit for this room. I don't really want to sit in a very solitary way and listen to just my headphone all alone. I'd like to share this with my friends. I'd like to share it with my wife, with my family. We'd like to sit together and listen to music. They're going to normally graduate to hi-fi, and it's a great way to get their toe in the water for not so much money. And then when they make their money, because the millennials are going to look, dude, y'all millennials, you're a millennial, right? Y'all millennials are getting hit with some fucking excuse the language, but it slips. Inheritances. Y'all's parents are if they haven't passed, they're going to, and then y'all are getting kicked down some fat checks, man, because the boomers, if your parents were boomers, or before, knew how to save their money and knew how to make good investments. So a lot of that dough, millennials, they might not even have to make it themselves. They're just going to get kicked down change. And then they come to me and they're like, okay, ready to do an audio room, let's do it. And yeah, so I think it's a great gateway drug. Headphones are a great gateway drug. I should make that t-shirt. You want a new Road Glide? Well, then get one. Do it, man. There's going to be, dude, Harley's having a hard time right now. There's going to be more bikes repoed for people that bought them back in the heyday. Dude, there's so many of them on the used market. Dude, you can scoop a Road Glide now. Harleys are not going to have the same value that they used to. They're overvalued. They've overvalued them in the marketplace. So there's a bubble that's bursting right now with Harley. You should be able to pick up a Road Glide for, I'll bet you can pick one up for like 17, 16 grand, something like that. Some sweet ones. Harley to vinyl comparison is appropriate, antiquated and clearly inferior technically, but has je ne sais quoi for certain people. Totally. And I get it, just like old carbureted cars, like the old, old even muscle cars, like that shit, dude, is like, I don't care how cool it is. I don't want to drive it. I mean, it's cool. I'll take it for a spin. I'll peel out. But, I get in it. You smell the gas and all this stuff. Okay. I get it. It's nostalgic, but they drive like shit. Unless it's a resto mod, that thing is the sloppiest piece of shit on the road for turning and drum brakes and shit. But whatever. It's some people, it's a driving around to parade a piece of history. It's not even about the driving experience maybe for them. It's just to show something, So I don't know. Everybody does things for different reasons. But yeah, the people that are vinyl, look, mad respect to you. It's all good. I want to call in Sunday. Vinyl is different, not plastic. Yeah, you're more than welcome to call in. Vinyl is different, not plastic. I don't get your point, but yeah, call in. No problem. Prince I saw in Seattle here, it was crazy. I'll bet, man. The guy is shreds. He's an amazing performer, and he is on his own fucking planet. That's what I loved about Prince. Like, I don't listen to Prince, but I greatly freaking respect that musician. Like, that dude was talent off the chain, wrote his own damn book, wrote his own plan, and did it and killed it. I mean, so good, I mean, an amazing. That dude was a musician to the fucking core. Like, he saw music like, virtuoso level people do. Incredible artist. What's the next big thing in exotic hi-fi? Vinyl to tape to CD. Well, it's tape to vinyl to CD. That's really the proper thing, to streaming, because tape came first. To what? To a chip that goes in your head and you don't even need speakers or anything. You just hear music in your head. That's eventually where it goes. It'll probably start with glasses that have speakers on the temples of the glasses. So you put it behind your ear, and this shit on the end vibrates and sends music into your cranium that way. It's probably how it'll start. And eventually it'll be a biohack where you just hear music. You just say, you're just going to be able to probably think it, or you can just say, Siri, play whatever, play Jimi Hendrix, and then you'll just hear it in your brain. So the next step is no hi-fi system. Hi-fi is maxed out. The next step is, and it's all connected by fucking wires and stupid shit that's old, I mean, I'm just saying stupid shit, but I love it. I use it. And I have to do it in order to get music at my level, but it's antiquated. The whole hi-fi system is antiquated. The whole idea of it is antiquated. The way speakers work, the way they're like a magnet moving a thing. It's like, that the next level is no audio system. That's my prediction. Do monoblocks have better sound stage on average? Monoblocks are better sounding. Typically, it's from stereo separation more than anything. So they just can have better stereo separation. So yeah, it's you could equivocate that to better sound stage. Typically the DAC is what gives you the main sound stages. It comes from the DAC in a digital system. In a vinyl system, it would be your phono pre, gives you that real ambient, layered sort of thing. The higher you go up with the rig, the better the sound stage, but monos do help that. Yes. What's next in progression? Yep. I got it. Yep. I think I answered. What's on the wrist tonight? Polaris. This is my Polaris. It's the JLC Polaris. Love this thing. Trying to figure out what my next watch is going to be. I want a black one and I want a white one. So I'm thinking about a Blancpain bathyscaphe, 50 fathoms bathyscaphe in ceramic, all black. And then I'm not sure what white watch I'll get. I also thought of the bathyscaphe women's white watch. It's fucking it's white, man. Why does it have to be women's? But it's a fucking women's watch, and I don't give a shit. If I want it, I'm gonna buy it and wear a fucking women's watch, because it's a little bit smaller. I think 42 is the normal bathyscaphe. I think this thing's a 38. But it's white. It's got a white face and a white band, a white like canvas band, and it looks badass. I want a white watch, and I want one that resides in my top brands, right? I don't want to get a Norquan just so I can get a fucking white watch. You know what I mean? For those that don't know, Norquan is a fucking plastic watch made in Sweden or wherever, Norway, somewhere. One liter down. So whoever else went on the water thing with me, there it went. I would like to hear all Swiss equipment, Nagra. It isn't. I don't know. I've heard an all Nagra system, and I was not that. Well, it was all Nagra with. I don't think Nagra makes speakers, so it's all Nagra with Stenheim, and I wasn't impressed. But the tape decks are wicked. I have a Studer, made in Switzerland. Glock is a great weapon. It is, but I can't stand them. Easy to use and clean. Great. It's a cop service weapon, man. Just like a fucking 38 special, like the last thing I'd want. My brother and son are combat veterans. They trust them. Yes. Okay, so you nailed it. It's a service weapon. It's a service thing. But that's not what I'm about, Like I'm about cool shit that looks pretty and, this thing is not going to be, there's a better watch for field use or whatever, than this thing. I don't know. Maybe this thing is pretty. Maybe it's more than I think, but Glock is a great thing, but it's not my vibration. It's just not my vibration, but they're great pieces. That's why cops use them, because they're totally reliable. You can get all sorts of parts for them. You can 3D print a thing to make them automatic if you're a criminal. But yeah, it's a great piece, just not my thing. The fact sheet says, and it's not me, and that's not me ragging. That's not me slamming them or bagging them like we were talking about earlier, just because I said it's not my thing. The fact sheet says AA100DM is a dual mono configuration and bridge mono configurable. Okay, so dual mono configuration means there's two power supplies and two whole amplifier sections. So it's dual mono is just meaning it's stereo amp taken to a higher level of build, and then bridge mono configurable. I think there's a wiring kit that I need to put in to do that. Either way, I haven't heard them, but the AA100 on its own is a phenomenal piece. And I've got one. I've got a couple, man. They're great pieces. I really like them. I think it's like that is a piece that everybody should have, something like that. Everybody should have a solid state, 100 watt per channel, solid state. You just need it there, period. Because it needs to be, if you don't have it and you're not using it in your rig, you need it for backup. You should just have one, because if you ever need to switch something out or hear something, you've got another one. A solid state 100 watt, which is like the staple. Peaches and regalia. Yes, no ribbon tweet on LRS, hence the three-way setup. Maybe it's time to upgrade, but I'll start messing with 1 to 2K crossover point. You bet, man. Time to get some Fisher and Fishers. They outperform Magnapan. All of them. Chris, baby. Hey, Mikey, the wife and I were talking about you listening to Zeppelin on playback designs through dinner. This is freaking glorious. Yeah. So Chris is a proud new owner of Fisher and Fisher 470s. And if you're still with us, feel free to comment. Maybe I'll have you. I'm about ready to end this, but we can have you come on and tell people about your 470s. Chris is the newest owner of 470s. Man, people are just blown away. I had Revelry. Brent called me today, man, telling me again how great the speakers are, man. It's like people just keep calling me back. They're getting better, dude. They're getting better. It's so that's awesome. I'm really glad that Chris has some now as well. Hey, Mikey from Max and Joe. Both of us got on a podium. Yeah. And sick waves all week from Malibu to C Street and Ventura. Life is good. Are you guys surf too? These guys are RC car racers. They actually compete in remote controlled car racing. Does an amp with more output transistors per channel sound better than one with less, given the same electronics? Power supply. Ooh, you shouldn't have said that. Filter capacitors, or is it more about the design? Well, it always boils down to the design. So it's definitely about the design and the brand, who built it. Okay. Then you don't need to get into the semantics, because as an end user, Carlos, like yourself, I presume, if you're trying to ask how many output transistors per channel and shit like that, you're putting your nose where it shouldn't be. Now, sometimes manufacturers will like to tell you how many output transistors, and then they're putting your nose where it shouldn't be, right? They're making you all of a sudden concerned about that when you really shouldn't be. Basically, what it means is if you have more output transistors per channel, you're driving them less hard. Okay. So in other words, if I need to make 100 watts per channel, and I've got, I need to make 100 watts per channel, and I've got, 5 output devices, 5 transistors doing 100 watts per channel. Each one's got to do 20 watts per channel. Okay. Let's say 25 watts is their maximum. I'm redlining them to give you 100 watts. If I double the amount of input or output transistors per channel, they're all working half as hard, way better. So typically, it's better to have more output transistors because they're working less hard, okay, to make the same amount of output. They'll have less distortion. So they'll make the power easier and more efficiently. So yeah, I mean, I think you can say, generally speaking, the more output transistors per channel, the better. Now, there's a fine line with that. I used to make an amplifier where I wanted so much power out of this amp that I increased the power supply, and we put a row of transistors on the top, and then we put a row of transistors underneath the board. So I had it the full board, and then we had some extras up on top that we put a heatsink, a jumper over. I maxed it out. I told them, give me more power. And they're like, fuck, okay. So they drew in, and we had it maxed. You've never seen so many output transistors per board. And it was like, it's at that point, it's like, you have to ask yourself, is it overdone? Are we putting too many damn, are we asking this thing to do too much? So you get that CH Precision. That's it, brother. That's exactly what it was. That was it. CH Precision was the brand. $60,000 solution. Oh yeah. Larry Danner. Okay, so it was one of those. No, it was oh shit. Which one was it? It was Solution. You're right. It wasn't. CH was the company that I'm thinking that I was trying to remember. But Larry's right. Solution was the actual one. It was a Solution. Proper hi-fi rigs are way cooler than a high-end headphone ring. I think so. I think they sound better, and it's more of a realistic experience. Hey, Mikey and Tribe. Kenny, I'm awake now. I see that Deborah's been representing. Yeah, she did, man. After your show, we have a full day of music. Beautiful. Our 470s are going to deliver sonic awesomeness all day long. Excellent, man. I'm totally stoked for you. Get a Grand Seiko. Yeah, it's a great watch. Again, not my vibe, brother. Grand Seiko is a gorgeous watch. It's not my vibe. It's not my vibe. I look at them and I'm like, yeah, okay. It's a beautiful piece. I know how good they are. They're better than like almost anything. But I have the brands. I've got it down. I like JLC. I like Breguet. I like Blancpain and and I can't, the other shit that I like. I'm not to Patek yet. I like Patek. There's some other really cool things, you know, but they're stratospherically priced, the things that I like. But I sort of have my brands sort of picked out. The only way to tell how good a piece of equipment is to listen to it yourself over a period of time with different genres of music. I'm done trusting most reviewers on YouTube. Yeah, I mean it's a good alma mater, whatever, a good what do you say, you know, a good path to follow, whatever. You got to listen to it yourself. And you do have to listen to it over a period of time. You can't tell. Some people put something in their system and they think they can tell right away if it sounds good or not. Impossible. You need to have it at least 30 days. So my return policy, you can't return it until after 30 days because I need to make sure your ass listens to it for at least 30 days. And hopefully, Carlos, you can get somebody you trust. My customers, I'm highly trusted. So I can say to people, it sounds good, and they don't even have to hear it. I got people buying $45,000 speakers that they've never heard before. Just send them, Mikey. I trust you, you know? And what I do is I keep putting them on my channel again and again. So you guys, after I have 100 guys saying, I didn't listen, Mikey, I just bought them blind without hearing them, that eventually you go, yeah, I can probably trust Mikey, you know? That's the 100th dude that bought speakers without hearing them that is totally stoked. So I can probably hedge that Mikey knows what he's talking about. I like my headphones to keep peace in the house. Yeah, there you go. So it's there's a reason for it. It's a different listening experience. In some ways you can really hear the details, but I do love a 2-channel setup. Yeah, I just think it's odd. I mean, live music is never experienced coming at you from the left and the right, you know? In a car it kind of is, except it goes into your ankles or your knees or some shit like that. So yeah, it's just weird for me. I mean, it's fun for things like Pink Floyd, you know, and shit like that, where the man walks across your head, you know, and shit like that. And it's good for spatial when they're trying to do holographic weird shit from side to side, panning back and forth. You know, it's kind of fun because it goes through the center of your head. But when music goes through the center of my head, it kind of bugs me out. It's like it's not normal for me. It's all of a sudden the shit's in the center of my head. I don't like that. That's what Bach did to me. I listened to Bach out of speakers and it was like headphones. It like I could hear the shit in the center of my head. I'm like, how the fuck am I hearing it in the center of my head right now? I don't even have headphones on. And it wasn't my thing. It was fun and it was like, and it was, you know, and I was entertained by it, but I was like, don't think I want to listen to music like this because it doesn't sound like live shows to me. And I go to a lot of live shows. Do you agree that 4-ohm speakers with 86 dB sensitivity or below needs a preamplifier? No, it depends on your DAC, right? So if we're talking about a digital rig, if you have a weak output section on your DAC, then yes, you need a preamplifier to boost the signal. If you have a badass 12-volt output like on the Playback Designs that can drive 100-foot XLRs with no loss, then you don't need a preamp. So it depends on the output stage of your DAC, whether you need a preamplifier or not. Hey, Mikey, what's up? George, Marcel, how are you, man? I've never heard nothing about new OnTech DAC 08 from you because it's a DAC 07 in a different box. It's exactly the DAC 07 in a heavier duty box. So I have one, dude. As a matter of fact, someone traded one in. If you want one, man, I'll sell you one at a great price, dude. A really good price. Just holler. The difference is it's the same exact thing. The only difference is it's got, in this one, the capacitors are a little bit larger. The filter caps, it's got a little more filter capacitance, and everything else is identical, except it's a higher level, heavier chassis. So if you want a DAC 08, and I've got a DAC 07, as a matter of fact, one, maybe two that were trade-ins that I can sell to. I got to put all my stuff up that is previously owned onto the, it's going to be a freaking undertaking. It's going to take me a couple weeks. But I have to do that. I have to go through every fucking box. I boxed them up when Charles was here last time. We boxed everything up and put them on the shelf out there. And I thought I cataloged them. I'll have to go back and look. Otherwise, I'm going to have to redo it. But I've got a lot of stuff. Hey, Mikey and Tribe. Hope everybody's doing well. Been a busy week for me. Right on, brother. It's I've been taking it easy. JWC Portofino white dial look cool. You mean IWC? IWC Portofino. Let me look this up. Oh yeah, I think I might have seen this one, bro. I think I know the one that you're talking about, because I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Let me see if this is the one. Oh, yeah, dude. It's I mean, is this the thing? Portofino? It looks, this is a dress watch, brother. Is this what you're talking about? That thing? That's a dress watch. I'm not a dress watch guy. You know, I'm not a dress watch. I'm like a dive or a sport watch. I'm really a sport watch guy more than anything. I've trusted your new OnTech review, and I'm happy I did it. It was the best deal with a DAC in a blind buy. There you go, man. Right on. You're welcome. Mikey, you are so right. Like always, no preamp is needed if all digital. Yeah, and you need to have a strong output section on the DAC, you know, because some DACs have volume controls, but if they're wimpy on the output section, then they may need a preamp, because some amplifiers need to be juiced on their inputs. You know, some of them are hard to drive, and then you need a powerful, you know, and that's what he's talking about, the situation where the amp has a hard to drive input section. Only watch that tempted me was a Tissot rock watch, but I wanted a pocket watch. Maybe Fisher should back a slate watch. Yeah, that would be something, huh? That'd be interesting. That's not a half bad idea. Wouldn't that be cool if you could do a slate case? It would probably be delicate, I would imagine. You know, I mean, how do you put your lugs onto slate? You know, and you'd have to put, maybe you could do slate with a metal band around it, or a metal frame with a slate case, body, and dial. Huh. That'd be interesting. I already have an 08, and damn, I will never swap. There you go, man. Playback Designs MPSX is not in the DAC or preamplifier section of the website, but it does show up now with the search function. Yeah, I should have a digital, let me go there now. I should have a digital source. Let's see, and you were talking about the MPSX. Yeah, so it should be, if I go to shop, I've got a, oh, it's not there, man. That's weird. Okay. I have a digital. I wonder if it's in my cache like this. And so it's not pulling the new site or something. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, there's supposed to be a new section in there. Now let me see if I search and I go MPSX. Let's see, MPSX. Okay, it pulls up here, and then I've got USB X4. I've got the Meitner. Oh, weird. Okay. MPSX. Okay, where is it? Search results. See if it shows me where. Product page. Product page. Okay, interesting. Yeah, and the Nagra streamer needs to be in there too. You guys haven't seen. I'm selling Nagra now, you guys. I have been approved to sell the Nagra streamer, which goes with the playback design. So it's a $5,000 option for streamer. Okay, yeah, I'll get it taken care of. I'll get it taken care of tomorrow. There'll be a digital source section. I have already a preamp with the 08 DAC. It's a Cardi's Alexander, and it's a very musical match. Cool. Awesome. I'm on holiday for a month, and I think I'm going to get withdrawal symptoms from my hi-fi system. Does this show that I've done well in picking my system, or am I just kidding myself? Kidding yourself about what? That you picked a good system? It means you're a music guy is what it means more than anything. It means that you really love music, you know? But yeah, I mean, that's typically a good sign. If you are not with your rig and you miss it, that's a good sign. That means you're connecting to the music. I'll definitely upgrade to Fisher and Fisher if they outperform Maggie's. They do for sure. Wish I could test hear them first. Ari, aren't you around here? Oh, you're in LA. I thought you were here for some reason. You're in Los Angeles. Who is there? There will be no dealers in LA, but I do have people that are end users. I've got somebody, Santa Barbara. Joe Pavel is there. I've got somebody in Santa Barbara. You might have to take a trip up and get some kick-ass fish tacos and chill for a second. Trying to think if I have anybody. I will have shit. We're on the verge of having some in Venice Beach. But he was ready. He got the whole rig except for the speakers. He was waiting for them to be made. And now he's had to take care of his parents. So he's back in Michigan taking care of his parents. So he's got to put a hold on that, but we'll have some in Venice. And I'm trying to think. I don't think I have any in LA proper, but why don't you be the first dude, man? Why don't you be you can call me tomorrow and I'm happy to talk to you about what model would be good for you. I don't have any more 70 monitors. I don't know what level you're looking for, but if you have LRS plus, I guess I'm going to just guess. The 70 monitors are now, they went up because you have the tariffs and everything. So they're 5,500 plus the stands make them 6,500. And for $7,000, which is the non-adjusted price, 500 more, you can get 170s that I have a pair of here that were bought before the tariffs. So I can give them to you for $7,000, including shipping. I think including shipping. It might be another 500 for shipping. I'm shooting from the hip here. But anyways, look, just holler, man. And if you want to be the first guy in LA, let's make you the first guy in LA. I will guarantee the speakers for you. If you are not just totally blown away, then you can send them back and there will be no restock fee, nothing like that. No digital section. For what? Playback design's not in the deck. Oh, no digital section. Yeah, there's a digital source section called digital source digital source. It's coming. It's just I don't know why it's not up there. It should be there. Is there a difference between the Nagra and the playback streamer? Absolutely. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking between the Meitner streamer that I had before. The difference between the Nagra and the playback streamer. They are the same board, just different power supply. So it's the same as the MPSX. Playback made it for Nagra, so it is the identical board. It's just a different chassis, a different power supply. I see the MPSX and Nagra when I open the page. When you open what page? Are you seeing it? Santa Barbara is close. If not, I'll fly to you. Yeah, man. Absolutely. He's got the 70s. He's got the monitors there in Santa Barbara. But shit, I mean I don't know. You just call me tomorrow and we can talk about which model, is like in your price range. Let's see. E. Williams. Now the page disappeared. Okay, so that's weird. Okay, we'll need to figure out why. Okay, everybody, it's 2 hours. I gotta go. 2 hours and 10 minutes. I gotta go. I will see you guys all on Sunday. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And if anybody has any questions about any hi-fi or wants to know what I have used or what I can make some ridiculous, crazy deal on, just give me a call, man. The number is on the website. Just go to 11stereo11stereo.com and holler. And I'm happy to take care of you. All right, everybody. See you Sunday. See you.